and it started in August, where three women, you know, tried to cut 8 girls, or they even caught 8 girls. So they were caught, and you know, they took them to court and all of that, and an imam came and bailed them out. That was where all of this Gambia issue started from.
Did you know that in 2015 there have been 7 arrests and 7 cases brought to courts for female circumcision in Nigeria? However, there have been no reported convictions or sanctions in these cases. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, in a post it shared on its official X handle, warns that female circumcision is a crime under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, VAP, 2015, that attracts a 4-year jail term.
Cultural reasons behind it is a very, you know, serious, you know, so we have to start from like education from the religious leaders, and you know how religious leaders, traditional leaders and all of that, and you know how difficult it can be when you want to, you know, sensitize or create awareness to some of those people, because they believe that they already know some of these things and is what they know. You know, they'll say, some people will say it's a spiritual thing, though they're all doctrinals, but they'll say it's a spiritual thing, is what it was revealed to them. That's the reason why it has not been eradicated since, you know, we've been talking about this, you know, harmful traditional practice, you know. So it has a very strong backing when it comes to religion. It has a very strong backing when it comes to traditional.
Female circumcision, also known as female genital mutilation, FGM, is a deeply rooted cultural practice in many parts of Nigeria. The origins of this practice can be traced back centuries, with some evidence suggesting it was documented in ancient Egypt. FGM is typically seen as a rite of passage into womanhood and is often justified based on cultural traditions and beliefs, though it is not a religious requirement. It is most prevalent in the southern regions of Nigeria, particularly the southwest, southeast and south-south zones. The national prevalence rate is around 41% among adult women, with the highest rates in Osun State at 76.6% and Ebonyi State at 74.2%.
They don't even report it. For us to now say, okay, let us now get the person, and then let's now, okay, take the person to court, and then the person is charged. They don't even report it because they feel like, it's our imam, or it's our pastor, or it's our, you know, and if this person is doing it, that means he has received a greater order from, you know, the supreme being.
Some of these things are done in hidden, and the society or community covers it up. So then it used to be a common practice, but now it's still ongoing. But the community, you know, they have come up with different ways of covering it up, you know, and newer forms of female genital mutilation. Like one of the communities where we heard, you know, now they don't use razor blade. The mothers use their fingers and Vaseline to keep pushing, you know, the female genital, you know that part, and it's, you know, gets to numb that area so that the girl does not become promiscuous.
And they were like, oh, there's a law that states. Then people now begin to look into the law, that why is the law stating that, you know, this and this is happening? So that means there should be something that we can use to counter the law. And when they even, I think they voted to eradicate the law, you know, and I can't remember the specific number. A lot of them, more than 80%, voted that they eradicate the law, just because of that particular act. That's why I said it has a very strong religious and a very strong cultural backing.
It's something that, you know, the availability of this punishment, you know, should be publicized. You know, many people should know about it so that they can know the implication of perpetrating such act.
a lot of people just go into communities and they just go there and talk to people, talk to the women, talk to the men, but the people that are actually causing the perpetration of this act, nobody is saying anything to them. And which is, from what we're saying, some of the religious leaders and some of the traditional leaders. So if there's a way that we can actually sensitize them, you know, and make them understand that these things are wrong, these are the repercussions, open the secrecy behind female genital mutilation, because when you talk about female genital, a lot of people don't even want to listen, because they feel that female genital mutilation is something that people talk about in secret, because you're talking about, you know, the external genitalia and all of that. Of female genital mutilation, and some of the immediate consequences are, you know, the bleeding that happens after the child is being cut, injuries to the external genitalia, the parts of the external genitalia. Then we have shock, and the person may even, you know, go into death. Infection is also part of it. Then we have long-term effects, you know, complications in pregnancy. We see a lot of women that have been caught going through CS before, you know, they're able to have their own children, you know, menstrual bleeding, painful sexual intercourse, and a whole lot of other things. Psychological effect as well, post-traumatic stress disorder, low self-esteem, a whole lot of other things that happens to these women, and at the long run leads to divorce, you know, leads to a whole lot of things with their own children. So it's something that female genital mutilation, something that we need to talk about and address as a country. Talk about the fact that we should have gender decks at every police station. If we have gender decks, we have people that really understands what is going on. If it's female genital mutilation, they say, oh, it's female genital mutilation, it's punishable by law, because the person knows. If it's rape, you know, we say, okay, we have had enough with when people commonize these things. When people commonize rape, when they commonize, now where you waka go now you make this thing happen to you. When people commonize female genital mutilation, and they're like, you know, they just commonize some of the effects. They commonize, you know, some of these things that happen, and at the end of the day, you know, when the person is caught, nothing happens to the person.
Addressing the scourge of female circumcision requires a multifaceted approach that prioritizes the well-being and rights of girls and women. By criminalizing this act and holding perpetrators accountable, we will safeguard citizens' rights and create a safer and more inclusive society for all.